interacting with the HR team, interacting with the line managers, and I also make sure that I interact with the participants in advance. So if there are any sensitivities, if there are certain things going on within the group, so I develop the data in advance. So that data really helps you design a program which suits the specific requirements of the organization. So if there are any sensitivities, we do keep those sensitivities in mind. I hope I answer your question.
Great.
Thank
Yes. Anyone else? Great. There's a question here. I think they both have done a good job. Things are clear.
Well, I have got a question for Sarah. Actually, we have been talking about competencies, and for job-related specific competencies are always identified. The challenge is assessing competencies on the job, or helping people to assess, for example, line managers to assess various competencies. Can you elaborate something on that, how to assess them?
Of course. So you're asking how do we assess the people in our HR teams, perhaps?
And educate and guide people, line managers to assess their people's.
Yes, yeah. I think, funny enough, performance management plays a really key part in that because as part of that cycle and part of good practice, you have competencies that are articulated, that are core, that everyone in the organisation is moving towards, and each line manager is rating their people on that. And then you also have your job competencies, perhaps, depending on your particular framework or system. So I think we have to keep on with other measures like performance management. I think we have to keep on with things like training and development, to see, we have to do training needs analysis, to find out where the competencies are or not, where the development needs. And I think we help our line managers to be good line managers who actually do know their people, who do have conversations with their people and are able to assess them on a day-to-day basis. We have to be careful that we don't put too many checks and balances in place that we detract from that role of the line manager. So,
Great.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Great. Thank you, Sarah and Kesar, for your great participation and knowledge and wisdom. Can we have a lot of applause from them? Thank you very much. You can be seated. We are going for the session closing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a tea ahead, but my request is, as soon as you come back, the effect will go to the session end. It applies on the tea and the lunch. 15 minutes tea. And I believe this 15 minutes will be only one time. 1-5 and one time. Thank you very much. We will meet after 15 minutes. Great. May I request you to please be seated on your allocated or desired seats so that we can proceed further. The next session is quite heavy session with a lot of high scale people here. Can I have anyone to close the door? Great, thank you. Yesterday we also had a session of CEOs. It was quite inspiring and a great discussion was there. Today, the next session after tea is also with the CEOs. And the interesting part is what CEOs have to say about HR practices. But I believe the CEO, whatever they say, whosoever it is, their support always picks the HR to the top, and the things do work there if the CEOs are are at the back of the HR people. Let me invite my guests on the stage. My first guest is Chief Executive, Lotte Pakistan Limited, Mr. Asif Saad. Sir, please. Country General Manager, IBM and Vice President, American Business Council, Mr. Humayun Bashir. Sir, please. Managing Director, Fulcrum Private Limited, Mr. Khurana. Director, HR Global Operations, Sir, sorry, I could not pronounce the name. At Elise, Mr. Al Kareem Hassan. And you always have to have a big guru to handle big leaders. To moderate this session, the CEO of Skill City, my inspiration, Mr. Wali Zahid. Sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. अच्छा हाँ चूँकि लंबी है maybe I can Rahim. CEO expectations from HR. I think that's a topic. I think let's do this way. Maybe we can take about 2 minutes introducing ourselves and also highlighting one key expectations from your HR. And we can go in any order, but maybe I can start with Humayun.
For catching me off guard. Okay, let me start off by introducing a little bit about the company that I work for. I'll just take half a minute. IBM has been in Pakistan for the last 58 years. We have, in spite of the situation around us, great confidence in the country, which is reflected by the fact that we have tripled our manpower in the last 3.5 years, and we have tripled our revenue as well, and doubled our office space in Pakistan. So we have made a lot of commitments to the country. As far as the business environment is concerned, HR is one of the pillars that support the business. Of course, there is finance and there is marketing and sales and production, whatever model you look at. So HR is one of the very important wheel of this car, of this engine that goes. But there has to be an overall objective, and then there are challenges for the business overall. IBM runs CEO studies globally, which includes Pakistan. And the trends that come about every 2 years give a good snapshot of what the major challenges are. And then HR has to help the CEO deliver on those challenges. When I look at the 2010 survey highlights, we look at major focuses. Now it is the complexity of the business, the flexibility that is needed, the customer relationships that are needed, and as such, the skill sets that are needed. So when I translate that and I sit with my HR, we see while there is stagnation at one end, there aren't enough job opportunities in the marketplace. We need to excite the current workforce, but at the same time, there are enough opportunities for the top talent to leave the company. Because in times, economic times like this, which have uncertainties, most companies slow down their salary incentive and other programs and align it with the marketplace. So the biggest challenge that I want from my HR is to help me retain top talent. And the way we do it is basically by identifying 15 to 20% of the population as top talent. And they are at all levels of the organization, including senior management level, as well as sales level, technical level, accounting, even with HR. We will identify 15 to 20% individuals for whom we have to do something special in terms of training, in terms of retention, in terms of salaries, in terms of other things I will talk about, in terms of having roundtables, in terms of having shadowing opportunities so that they can work with some senior executives for a couple of days and see how a senior executive operates, and many other things. So in my opinion, what I'm looking from my HR, among the various HR practices, there are several practices that we can talk about: safety, open door, speak ups, high potential culture, knowledge, skills. But the retention, the talent management, is the key in this current retention of key skills in this current environment is the key for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Humayun. That was your 2 minutes. Okay. Retention and talent management. So these are your two top expectations coming from a business side. Rukhsana, you work for various companies. जो आपके clients हैं, what do they expect from their HR?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I think this is a great panel where we have CEOs who are putting out their expectation, and we have someone like myself who has been in HR for over 26 years, worked with a number of CEOs, now running my own consultancy and providing services to over 115 clients locally and overseas. And it is interesting to see, Humayun has said it all, but a survey recently conducted came out with similar facts that 46% of the CEOs have the biggest issue, which is where and how can they hire the right people from, and how do they maintain and retain those best people in their organization. Plus, the kind of skills that are available, how can they be hired, groomed, developed, and used for the benefit of the organization. Nowadays, the entire concept of human resource has really made a big shift from what it used to be, majorly as a direction taker, to a strategic business partner where the expectations of the CEOs are for the HR to help them out with their business strategy, resolving all their human resource issues and aspects, having that flexibility to meet the business demands as and when they come in. The other fact is that the CEOs no longer would like to see what HR does. I think they want it quantified as to what is this human capital asset in the organization, which is the core to every organization, and how does it contribute to the bottom line? In the sense that if we hire, do we hire the best the first time around? If we train, do we use our training dollars in the right dimension? There have been instances where, there has been a lot of training, and yet you heard people say that our people are not up the curve on the skills that are required, because that training was more a wish list of the employees rather than a targeted aspect where a training need analysis had been conducted and where people knew exactly what kind of development or what kind of training was required for the people. Then pay for performance. As the world changes, and rather rapidly, pay for performance is really, really catching up. We no longer can pay all employees in the same way. We have to differentiate. Once again, as Humayun Saab said, that his core issue or his core expectation from his HR is that his top 15% should not leave the organization, because that is where it really hurts the most, and that is where most of the organization and competitors target you the most. So that is what is now the expectation of the human resource function and managers as far as the CEOs are concerned.
Thank you, Rukhsana. Kareem, I'll carry on that with you because you also represent HR. So let us know, aapka jo CEO, I'm sure you have a lot of contact with him on a daily basis. What are their expectations, and are you meeting them or not?
Good morning, everyone. One of the key deliverables which is expected from HR is to basically meet the customer requirements. Like, I'm from an IT industry, we are into product data. We are the world's #1 company in product data, catering to Fortune 100 companies. And our customers expect that whatever product information goes out into the market, which is actually done by the human capital manufactured here in Pakistan, they would want zero defects in that. So ultimately, it's the customer satisfaction which drives the HR practices. So if I look at the scenario of the HR practices within ETLIze, we have 3 areas to focus on. The first is the recruit part, the other is the refresh part, and the third one is the retain part. So collectively, all 3 are very important. So within all these 3 different areas, whatever HR activities we conduct, whether it's for recruiting and selection, whether it's for training and career development, or whether it's for retaining through compensation, benefits, and all of the initiatives, we try to track through various HR matrices. right? We give a representation based on different ratios, how it impacts the business, and ultimately